Hi everyone, welcome to episode 2 of the Lennon James podcast. A lot to go over in this one because it's been a while since we put out episode 1. We have filmed episode 2, but decided not to put that out because it was a bit of a shit show, wasn't it? Kind of just went off.
Shambles would be the right expression, yeah.
Yeah, okay, bit of a shambles, yeah, no, definitely. But
we won't go off topic again.
Yeah, no, but it's actually been good because in the sort of large absence since episode 1,
Excuse me.
that's right. Quite a bit's happened. We had the election. We've had a big rush during December and January, got to where we are right now. So because it's the first episode of the new year, I thought that we'd start off with a bit of maybe a little bit of a reflection on 2019, and obviously it was your first year of trading. I came and sort of we teamed up towards the end of the year, so I can talk about a few things. But if you want to maybe have a bit of a reflection on how 2019 went, how you think the industry's changed as a result of your first year of trading, if it's changed at all. Straight over to you.
I don't think it's probably changed all that much. Sorry. I don't think it's changed probably all that much. But in regards to our first 10 months now? Yeah, 1st of March when we officially started. So that's quite weird because this time last year I was still officially at Rightmove.
Okay.
So that's quite strange.
Well, it's strange when you think of how much has happened in between then.
Yeah, it seems a million years ago.
Yeah.
A really good first year, huge learning curve. The aim was always to kind of use the first year as a bit of a, what do we want to be? What does the market look like? What does the competition look like? What do we need to do to be better? Where can we be better? Test some stuff, test different things in terms of viewing strategies, marketing strategies, what works, what doesn't. And from that perspective, I think that we've built a kind of a really good structure that we can now use moving forward. So from that perspective, it's been really, really good. At the moment, we're just so self-contained with what year 2 and year 3 looks like, our growth plans, now that we kind of really want to kick on now. And the market feels like it's definitely turned, but going into overdrive in regard to activity. So hopefully a really bright 2020 ahead.
Yeah, I mean, something that...
Was that an okay as a recap?
Yeah. I mean, something that's interesting to bounce off you is that obviously me and you had very similar mindsets, very similar intentions of what we wanted to do from a content creation and marketing perspective. What would be interesting to know is, I mean, I've got an answer for this, but you obviously came into this saying, well, I want to do things differently to how other people do it in terms of how we present these properties to potential buyers. Have you been surprised or not surprised or overwhelmed by the reaction that that approach has got from customers? You know, that the way in which we present the houses through photos, videos, whatever it may be, the response from the market. I mean, are you quite surprised at that and not surprised? Did it go exactly as you thought it would?
That's a good question. I think what we've produced is better than I expected going in.
In terms of the quality of the work?
Yeah.
Tick.
Yeah, and that is a huge tick for you because I can have the idea in terms of I want it to be different and I want it to look this way.
This is how it's executed.
But it's been executed brilliantly, and I know we were chatting at the start of the year in terms of when we sat down, but if you look at the early videos that we did and some of the early properties that we launched and how they look now, the contrast is vast. So that's really exciting that we've been able to evolve so quickly.
Yeah.
And the fact that we've only really just started in terms of what we intend to do. So from a personal perspective, I'm really proud of the work that we've produced, and actually, I think from the public's perception, I think that no, I get stopped all the time in terms of our videos and the marketing and the photography and the way that we talk about homes. People who aren't even putting their house in the market have commented to me about what that looks like. So that says to me that, one, I think the industry is crying out for more agents to market homes better. From a marketing background, which is obviously what I came from a Rightmove perspective, it was the biggest thing for me in terms of I wanted to make sure that even people who, had $100,000 home, $200,000 home, that their home was given the best possible chance of succeeding as well.
Yeah.
And, that's not just professional photography. It's good now to see other agents now almost adopting a line of, we do professional photography on everything, because that certainly wasn't the case 12 months ago. So perhaps others are following suit.
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much at the same point. I wasn't surprised that the response that we got from the public in terms of how we market and present these properties was as strong as what it was and as positive as what it was, because I've seen that model work before. If you attach an emotional weight to something and present it in a really lovely way, that really resonates with people. I've seen it happen before, and I knew that if I did it in the property world, the same thing would happen. So that didn't surprise me. I was really looking forward to showing customers, showing homeowners what could be.
Yeah.
What did surprise me though is, and maybe it's because I'm not from this industry originally, was the response from other estate agencies, and more the lack of response in terms of, I thought that we would do it, it would get a really positive response, and it would then kickstart and re-energize the industry into modernizing the way they market. And that is happening now. Like you said, you're seeing other estate agencies saying that they photograph every single property and things, but it surprised me that it wasn't more immediate. So that was the surprising thing for me, that it seems like other estate agencies need to be pulled kicking and screaming into a more modern, better way of presenting these properties. And like I say, that just surprised me. But it might just be because I'm not from this industry.
It might be. It's hard to know. I mean, if you come from a marketing background, and so you kind of look at it, for me it was always if we can market homes as well as we can, it will appeal to more people. And then if we can create a marketing strategy which means that we can get properties out far and wide, then those two things combined means that we're going to be able to get more people to visit our homes than anyone else's. If we're able to do that, we're able to generate a better offer than anyone else. So kind of the more people that we can attract, the more people that we can show around, the more offers that we can get for our sellers. So there might be some offices that just are inundated with viewings, and therefore they don't need to do that. I don't believe that's the case. And actually, you've seen it firsthand. It takes a lot of work. So it's not just that you can rock up, take a video, stick it online. It takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of planning. And it's, for us, because we haven't run off and wanted to have sort of 40, 50, 60, 70 properties, which some of these guys have. For us, it's all been about lower numbers, service them properly, build a kind of infrastructure of what we want the business to look like.
It's quality rather than quantity.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
So on that basis, we give ourselves the freedom and the time to be able to do things. I'm not saying properly, but kind of properly, I guess, in terms of we want to make sure that we do all these things, and therefore we give ourselves the time to do it. So, and I guess it's my name above the door, so therefore the marketing means more to me than it would do to some of these other businesses who don't have someone's name above the door. That person is now out of that business. So,
yeah, no, I as a sort of a business owner, I can definitely relate to that when it's your name going on. I mean, you know, I have a couple of people who shoot in my name, whether it be at weddings or I send them to do other corporate gigs. You know, I've got a couple of people that I can call on and rely on. And knowing that someone's out there producing work in my name certainly has a certain level of unease. They're perfectly qualified, and I love their work, and that's why I choose to use them. But yeah, when it's your name going on things, when it's your reputation, when you own your own labour, there's just a weight that an employee of a company just would not feel, and probably wouldn't be able to understand. And that's not, that's not a. I don't mean that in a nasty way. It's just,
that's just life.
Yeah, it's just something that they haven't experienced. Okay.
How do you feel it's gone in terms of the work that you've produced?
I love the natural progression that the videos have taken. Like you say, when we look at the first one that we did compared to the one that we did last week, or whatever. The natural progression of quality has been really good, and from a
I think that includes the images as well, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, the content in general, and what I've enjoyed the most from a creative's point of view is that you need that room to breathe. You know, I mean, like it really sometimes it can be really suffocating when you get a client who, shows you something they've seen on YouTube and they kind of go, I want this and I want this tomorrow. And it's kind of like, well, no, hang on. Everything comes from a great idea. You have to have time to think. You have to have time to process it and analyze it. That's what I've enjoyed the most about this year, is that this last year that's gone, is that I've had that room to breathe. I've had that time to be able to go and shoot a property, and then we go, this worked really well, this kind of didn't. Let's find a solution to that problem, and that solution will evolve over the next few properties that we've done. It's been a really natural progression, and that's exactly the way it should go. Yeah. And so I've really enjoyed that. I just find it really exciting to be in this arena where I can just kind of think up of new ways of doing things, try them out. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, and when they work, I nurture them and make them the best they can, and then announce them, like we done recently with the 360-degree images. That's, if people think that we're sitting here and thinking, oh, let's do this, and then tomorrow we do it, that's not the way it happens. The genesis of doing 360 images, I probably had that I remember I started playing around with the concept of it in late August. And I looked at different ways of doing it and different techniques of doing it. I looked at different hardware that could do it and all this sort of stuff. And then it was only until last week that we announced that we went out and did it. And that's the process that you have. And some people might look at that and go, well, Christ, that's a huge amount of time to work on just one feature of something. But you need that. You really do need it. And I mean, like if people think that, I'm already researching into what's going to be next after 360. And that's probably the thing that's my indulgence of all this the most, is that I like that we have almost set a new standard, a new bar for marketing properties, that kind of we kind of put ourselves here, and now everyone's, as you say, is kind of coming up towards the same thing. But I'm already thinking of ways that's going to be the next thing and the next thing after that.
The interviews have been the biggest game changer for me, I think.
Well, I think that's
been the biggest. That was probably the biggest standout for me. That when we watched it, but we watched it back, and I was just like, wow. I was blown away.
It just embodies everything that we want Leonard James to be, in terms of the connection we want to have to properties and homeowners. We said it in the first podcast that there is such an emotional weight attached to owning a property, buying a property, and things like this, just as much as there is with a wedding. It's a staple moment in someone's life, particularly first-time buyers. And if you can nail it, if you can dial into that and really, really get that across, then it makes everything else obsolete. It's the best way to present it. And we've known that since the beginning. And so the interview-led promo videos, just encapsulate all of that. It's straight from the people who've lived there. It's them talking about the things that they do on a daily basis, use on a daily basis, and the things that make their property not just a building but their home. I loved the interviews, and I am so pleased that A, they came out how I envisioned them, and B, got the response that they
came
did.
out. They came out way better than I expected. I thought they would be good, but I didn't think it would be as powerful as it ended up being. I thought it was sensational.
Thank you. But,
you only filmed it.
Huh?
Yeah, it's down to the owner.
True. Well, that's the thing, is that when we've
Try and be humble.
we've done 2 so far. We wanted to do a third, but the owners didn't want to do it, and that's the thing that we're going to come up against, and we already have, is that some people don't want to be interviewed.
But it doesn't.
And it's totally fine.
It doesn't have to be for everyone, and that's the.
No, it doesn't.
Because I don't think I'd want to do it. I don't. I hate being in front of camera, so I don't think I wouldn't want to do it. But some people will want to do it.
I think you would. I don't think you'd mind doing it, because it's not Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's not like they're going to be presented with something that they don't know. It's talking about the place that they've lived for 10 plus years or whatever. So the interviews have they've certainly been one of my favourite pieces of content that we've put out in terms of the response. From an absolute geek's point of view, I do love doing the 360 images, purely because it's a new technology, and it's.
That was the happiest I've ever seen you when you got that box.
It's like if you went to a chef who's been.
I felt like I needed to leave the office and just let you have some me time
with a new camera, yeah. But no, it's a whole new toy for me though. So I now have a completely new space to work in. It would be like if a chef who's been making the same dishes for 5 years, he can play around with the ingredients and maybe make variants of it. But then if you come in with completely new types of food and say fill your boots, that's what it's like. It's a new piece of equipment. It's an entirely new way of using it. I've had a look at. I won't actually go into it because it'll be the next thing that we do. But yeah, there's loads that we can do with that application. And again, I like seeing, not from an arrogant point of view, but I like seeing the catch up. I like us putting stuff out, eyes being on it, and then seeing it replicated. I really do like that. Okay, so I think that's pretty good reflection. So opposite way then, looking forward. I know that you've got quite a bit that you're going to be doing on your end of things for 2020. Why don't you talk about some stuff that you're planning to do?
So from day-to-day business perspective, I think we're probably at the point now where we're going to want to increase headcount. So I would hope that in the first quarter.
So recruiting, you're looking at expanding the team.
Yeah. So I think we've now reached a point where we need it, and it's a good time to do it with what we have planned this year. So I'm kind of looking at the moment in terms of what that will be, but I'm really going to want sort of top of class customer service people, and not necessarily from sales backgrounds, but top of class customer service, because I think that we're trying to sell experiences as opposed to selling.
Well, I certainly think that's the right avenue to look in. People who are very sales orientated, they're great for a particular task, selling. But in terms of motivation, that tends to just be the one motivation that they have, and that's fine when they're put in the right setting. But when you have someone who's motivated by quality of service and doing the right thing by customers, I think that consumers, no matter what you sit at, whether you're buying a sandwich, a car, or a house, they appreciate that so much more. And so I think it's right to look for those types of people.
Yeah.
Did you think that you would be at this point, even before end of year one, that the team would be expanding from you, then to two, and then to however many people you're looking at?
The plan was always to kind of go the full 12 months and then kind of judge where we were at and what it would need to do. Year one was always kind of just to get the name out there, learn, understand what the market is, understand what we need to do. We've kind of learnt that stuff a lot quicker because I suppose we've been more active than I expected us to be, which is really, really good. And I guess because of some of the stuff that we've been working on in the background, knowing what 2020 is going to look like from the business perspective, and 2021, it feels like just the right time really for us to kind of kick on. And from a marketing perspective, I kind of want to make sure that the all-round experience of interacting with our agency is a real positive one from start to finish, as we've quoted all the way through. And it's just about putting the right people in place to make sure that we nailed that part of the journey. And that was always the most important part for me, but I wanted to figure it out as to what does that actually mean and look like, because there's no point employing people for the sake of it. Everyone needs to have a specific role that is going to change the way that our customers feel about the interactions that they have with us. I don't need someone else to sit at a desk. I need someone to own a part of the business responsibility of the day-to-day that we have. So I think we have at least two roles that people will be able to own within the business, which I think will have a dramatic impact in terms of the way that we're able to interact with our customers, and that's only going to be a really good thing. It's funny because we just had a really, really busy weekend of viewings, and the thing that I love about that is that viewings are. It's really hard to influence someone about. Someone's either going to love a property or they're not, and there's very little that you as the agent can do really to influence that. We can market it as best as we can, and we can probably sift out people that won't like that property, that potentially might have viewed it but they would never buy it. But actually you get a feel for a property when you walk into it, and what someone will like about it, someone will hate. And it's just an emotional feeling. That's buying a home is like that. So the bit for me that I want to make sure that we nail down as well as we can is the viewing experience. What's that experience like? What's it like to interact with us all the way through? And I think in terms of the marginal gains that we always look to try and how can we just get that little bit better, I believe that we can just be a bit slicker and a little bit better at that. And so I kind of want to look at that and try and make the experience so people remember and go, I had 10 viewings today, but by God, there was this agency that we went viewing with, and they were just streets ahead.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that if there's one area where we sit on the sort of just okay and just average level compared to all the other aspects of what we do, then I don't think it's unfair to say that it's with the viewings. So the fact that our attention is now firmly fixed on that and going, well, what can we do differently? What's not working right from an industry's point of view about viewings that we can then do better? I think that's actually quite exciting to really nail down. And I think that once we find that answer, I think we'll have something really special.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know what I want it to be, and so therefore that's the easy bit, because now we can just feel like if we can find the right people, we can slot people into those roles. So that's great, and we're going to continue to do that all the way through 2020 and 2021. So if we find gaps, then we'll plug them.
Okay, well, yeah. So that's sort of a looking back at 2019 and a looking forward at 2020. So I think that was a nice roundup of where we are. I wanted to have a bit of a debrief with you about
Sorry.
You okay? John Strepsil?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Powering through.
Powering through that one cough. I wanted to have a bit of a debrief with you about I suppose what's been going on in the industry since we last sat down and spoke like this. So obviously we had the election, and that was a big deal for the industry because of what happened there. And then we had a very I don't know if it was unexpected, but a big rush then over December and into January as well has just been. I mean, January particularly, the last couple of weekends. I've kind of seen you on a Sunday sometimes. It looks like you're going to pass out. And so just a bit of a debrief about that and what's been going on in the industry since December.
I can't remember when we did the Christmas one, didn't we? Well, I don't think
that didn't go out.
Yeah,
that did not go out.
No, it didn't. Okay, so it's a bit of a recap in terms of what happened. So,
it's been a while, and you've probably got quite a bit to cover.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess leading up to the election, market was pretty quiet. Felt like Christmas had come early. There was a definite slowing up of, I guess, kind of everything, and people waiting to see what was going to happen. And that obviously made perfect sense.
I mean that was due to a hell of a lot of uncertainty that I think a lot of industries felt, not just property but yeah.
Yeah. So come the election, it was, it was, in terms of which way was it going to go, you could almost, from hearing different kind of commentators, it was kind of going, well, it might be a marginal win, it might be a hung parliament, all those bits and pieces. So there was a lot of uncertainty about, well, this isn't going to even offer any clarity.
It certainly wasn't the outcome that it was sort of,
We chatted a couple of days before. We didn't, at no point did we say that the Tories are going to get a majority of that size.
Yeah, that's what was the most surprising. I think as it got closer and you could sort of dip your elbow in the water, I knew the Tories would win. The size of their win, though, I did not expect, particularly like in the north, and the way that Labour was just obliterated. That was the most surprising thing. But yeah, the uncertainty leading up to it, left this sort of very, very quiet period, and then it was just boom.
Yeah, and to be, from a looking for certainty perspective, you got it. So there won't be an election for 5 years, not with that majority. So from a political landscape perspective, that's quite certain. Brexit will happen. We're going to come out of the EU, so that's quite certain.
This week?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. God.
January 31st, mate. Yeah.
So so that's going to happen. So I think it wouldn't be too far a stretch to say that literally the day after.
That wasn't a stretch because it was literally the day after.
It felt like someone had lit the paper because. So much so that we were planning to launch our properties so we were holding some properties back that we were going to kind of launch just before Christmas, but like a day before Christmas, and we launched them that week. Every single variable of number that we saw in our back end said something has changed.
Yeah.
And so we reacted to that change.
Yeah, I remember I was basically finalising a bunch of content that I was then going to send over to you, break up for Christmas, and I had timed it. This needs to go out on this date. This needs to go out on this date, and blah 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 blah. And it was sort of when we broke up for Christmas, we had this sort of back catalogue of stuff to put out, and I was finalising that, and it was like, nope, this needs to go out right now.
Yeah, sorry about that. So we launched. So we launched early, and I wasn't really expecting. I didn't necessarily think there was going to be a lot of viewing activity. It was the week before Christmas. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to make sure that we rode the wave of exposure and we got our properties out in front of everyone else's. I assumed that probably everyone would be on the same train of thought as we were. But the viewing activity was unbelievable. So we had our busiest weekend of viewings the weekend before Christmas. Multiple offers on all those properties. It was a real full-on weekend of activity, which was amazing, and that hasn't stopped since. The interesting thing from a viewing perspective is it feels like it's all fresh people to the market. So,
well, like first-time buyers?
No, so people that are kind of haven't put the house on the market yet. They are just looking for the property that they want to find, because there's a shortage of stock out there of properties on the market, without a doubt. So before people are committing to putting their house on the market, they are trying to find the one that they want. We've had that in droves, so multiple offers from people who love the property
but need to sell theirs.
But they need to sell theirs. And that seems to be the trend. So, huge amounts of viewing activity. I think it will really start to kick into gear once you see a bit of a domino of people getting offers and then people moving, being able to proceed. But a fantastic start to the year, and long may it continue.
Well, with that in mind, long may it continue. How long do you think this wave will? When do you think it's going to break? It'll break at some point.
Well, I think there's probably a few things. I think the first is that we've got 3 years worth of pent up demand. So to be able to predict how long that will last will be as long as we've got certainty in the market. And for the moment, we do have some level of certainty about the economic world that we're in. So I would certainly think that quarter one, quarter two, so up until summer, will be really, really positive from a property market perspective. It feels like there's lots bubbling around. So much so that, we're nearly at the end of January and this is the first opportunity really we've had to kind of catch up, and I've had to keep moving you, which has not pleased you greatly. So,
well, yeah, it's okay though, because I've seen how stressed out you've been, and close to collapse.
Yeah.
So that was some comfort.
It's not been that bad, but
it's got pretty bad. I mean, the other day you sounded really ill, and I said that's because you're burning yourself out, mate. You need to sort this out. And your response was, it's okay because I go home at the end of every day and have a hot bath.
I've been having hot baths. I've had the flu.
Lush bath bomb. Do you go that far? Candles.
No.
Bit of red wine.
No, my body was
Barry White.
My body was aching at so many parts last week. It was like double Radox, blue and red muscle therapy. It was mind over matter. I've always believed mind over matter with flu. So you just power through.
That's the time. That's probably the time I'm most jealous of your 4'5" stature. Is that you can fit in baths. I can't fit in baths anymore.
You can't probably get a leg in.
No, it's ridiculous. There's more of me out of a bath than in when I try and get in a bath. So,
but anyway, I soldiered through, cracked on despite having a tropical disease or whatever I've had.
A sore throat is what you've had.
Yeah. So it's been really good. And yeah, I just think the market looks really positive for the next couple of months, so or the foreseeable. So I would say that the one caveat to people who are kind of thinking about putting their house on the market is, don't miss out on the property that you want to buy because you haven't, pardon the pun, got your house in order in terms of getting your house on the market. You have nothing to lose by putting your house on the market, and not missing out on the potential property of dreams because you didn't put your house on the market could be devastating. So don't do it. So I would just. There's so many people at the moment who are frantically putting themselves under pressure now to get an offer on their properties so that they don't miss out on the house that they've seen.
Yeah.
And I would just say don't. There's nothing to lose by putting your house on the market. There's all to lose for the agent in terms of, it costs us money to produce it, but that's fine. That's what we choose to do. We're a no sale, no fee agent. We are here to get you the offer you want so you can move forward, and we won't charge you a penny unless we're able to do that. But I would say don't miss out on the property you want because you haven't put your house on the market yet. There's no need.
So basically, there's a lot of eyes out there looking at the buying properties, and an equal amount of people putting their house on the market, or that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a shortage of stock versus the amount of buyers that are out there. And, you know, for instance, we had one of our open days this weekend. There was probably 8 people that attended one of those open days. I would say 6 of those people haven't yet put the house on the market.
Out of 8?
And all had houses to sell. So, you know, really, those people should get themselves into a position where I like this house and I can put an offer on it today, because you are running the risk of missing out. And, you know, with the right move numbers at some point, that is going to start happening, and we're starting to see it now where people are starting to get offers and we're able to start proceeding sales, which is really, really good.
Okay, great. Well, I think we'll leave it there. That's good. I think we've covered a lot of stuff. Anything that you wanted to add? You talked about... Have you got a hole in your jumper?
Why are you mentioning that as well?
The camera's pointing straight at it, man. What's wrong with you?
I didn't even notice that. I don't even know. Should have sat on that side.
For Christ's sake.
Right.
Never mind. Yeah, anything that you wanted to add? You talked about the fact that we're expanding the team and stuff that we've got in the pipeline and things.
No, I think there'll be more to come on that. So no, just really exciting times.
Yeah.
Still got, you know, we're still in stage 1 of where I expect us to be. So we need to we've got some really exciting plans. We need to put them out. We need to make sure that we just keep getting better and better at every part of what we do. So I guess that's the right move person in me, in terms of just look at every part of what we do and just continue to try and innovate and make it better, because if we do that, then we'll keep doing really good things and don't rest on your laurels. So
but everything's pointing in the right direction. Excited about where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone probably quicker than I would have liked.
It's last year?
Yeah.
I think that's an age thing though, mate.
Yeah, I think it might be an age thing, but it's gone...
Because you're how old this week? On Wednesday?
Anyway.
40?
No, I'm not 40.
Oh, I heard you telling the guys the other day that you're 40. Oh, were you winding them up?
Well, the fact you think I'm 40 is...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is, yeah, you got some serious crow's feet.
No, I'm 37.
Jesus.
I'll be 37 in January.
Nature has not been kind to you.
Yeah, but you look 50.
No, I've got the attitude of a 50-year-old. I look youthful when I don't have a beard. I'm not cutting my beard off. Anyway, let's wrap this up, because, yeah.
Good, thank you. Pleasure as always.
Right, that was episode 2. Better than the first take of episode 2 with the Christmas thing. That was an absolute nightmare. But yeah.
Yes, I suppose one day we might launch that.
Yeah, as bloopers. The whole thing was one big blooper.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what was happening that day.
I know, I sort of deleted it from my memory bank. It was such an embarrassment.
12 Diet Cokes or something, because we're still filming, sorry.
Yeah. Right. Thanks for watching, everyone. If people want to get involved with these, give us suggestions on topics they want to hear about from any perspective, from a homeowner, from someone who's looking to buy, or just somebody who's looking outside into the industry and wants to know more about a particular thing. Let us know, and we can include it in episode 3. So yeah, thanks for listening, and take care, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.